Hi everyone, my name is Riley McDonald, and today we're going to be exploring the story of Vishwakumar, who is the lead character in the show Never Have I Ever on Netflix, and how cultural psychology can help us better understand her experiences. Devi is a high school student living in Sherman Oaks, Los Angeles, California, but her life is shaped by two very different cultures. She's a first generation Indian American from a Tamil Hindu family. Her mom, Nali, holds tightly to the traditional Tamil values, while Devi is trying to figure out who she is as a teenager in an American society that often encourages self expression and individuality. She has this constant push and pull between her Indian roots and her American teenage life, which makes her story so relatable and so powerful to many bicultural individuals. To understand Devi as a character a little more, we need to look a little more into the Tamil culture. Tamil culture comes from Tamil Nadu in South India and is one of the oldest cultures in the world. There's a strong focus on respect for elders, academic success, family, and religious tradition. Some festivals are like Ganesh Puja, daily prayers, and a lot of different cultural rituals that are practiced often every day. In Tamil Hindu families, the girls are often taught to be respectful, modest, and focused on your career. Um, they're more than likely to be pushed academically towards medicine or engineering. So when Devi tries to be a normal American teenager, she faces a lot of tension from home, especially from her mother. She's expected to honor her family's values and traditions, while she also, on the other side, wants to explore the freedom, date, and expressed her very, very vast emotions. The cultural conflict is something that a lot of first generation youths experience, and it sits very, very well at the heart of Devi as a character. Here are some respectful cultural interactions, obviously using like formal titles, respecting religious practices, showing the importance of education and being educated. Um, Also, intrusive questions, families, traditions, culture, mental health is a really, really big one, especially in Indian cultures. It's stigmatized very, very often. What to avoid, mocking, stereotypes, and just disregarding anything that is important or a part of their culture. We're going to dive into two key theories that Devi help explain Devi's internal struggle with cultural influences on self and personality. We got independent versus interdependent, self constructual, and the big five personality traits. The first theory compares how people raised in Western cultures tend to see themselves as independent and self reliant, while people from collectivist cultures like India focus on the relationships, group identities, families, and their roles in them. The second theory, the big five, breaks personalities into five different traits: openness, conscientiousness, extroversion, agreeableness, and neuroticism. But how these traits show up often depends on the situation and the culture that you're interacting with. How these theories apply to Devi herself. Devi's personality often reflects this cultural clash. She's caught between being the perfect, obedient daughter her mom wants her and expects her to be, and the independent teen that she wants to be living in America. She hides her therapy sessions from her mom in fear of judgment from her. She wants to make her dad proud after he's passed, but also be cool and popular. And with her dad passing, also adds another layer of her mom, Nali, being a single mom in a new country with her teenage daughter and having to navigate the world all on her own and just managing. She has this constant struggle of her wanting to go back to home, but her daughter wanting to stay in America. And there's just, she almost goes back in season two, but decides to stay. And it's this whole thing. So there's just another layer of the stresses of her mom on top of Devi trying to go to school and go to college and just be this perfect American teen that everyone expects her to be. And then her mom adds this extra stress that she has from her dad. I'm rambling, so I'm going to move on. This is a very good show, by the way. Everyone should watch it. She is high in conscientiousness when it comes to her school. She's so ambitious and so hardworking. She also shows a lot of nepotism. Um, with her mood swings and her impulsive decisions, especially when she feels the pressure coming from both sides, the American side and the Tamil side. It's just this constant battle with herself of trying to navigate who she is as a person in a very, very different society than what her mom grew up in and what she's growing up in. And it just reveals how her bicultural experiences shapes her self-concept and her personality traits. So some key moments in the show could be season 1, episode 4, when she's at Ganesh Pujua. She feels embarrassed by her Indian heritage and her identity, and she calls other girls around her too Indian. And she would much rather hang out with her friends because they aren't doing what she's doing. They're doing something very different. So she feels embarrassed that she is different from her classmates and her friends and the people that she surrounds with. Another one is when she hides therapy from her mom. Uh, Mental health and is very stigmatized in society and especially within their culture. So she hides it from her dad to not face judgment from her mother. There's also in season 2 when she plans a traditional event for her cousin Kamala, who is in an arranged marriage, which is also very common in Tamil families. And she Devi is being conscientious and honoring her family's roles expectations. So that is a example of the big five. And then all of these scenes just reflect her trying to navigate and balance and act between two different definitions of her personality and of herself. She's two very, very different people when she's at school and when she's at home. So, some gender and sex roles across cultures. In the US, girls are often raised to be assertive and are more freely to explore romance, while in India, it is in traditional families, girls are expected to be modest and focus on school and respect their elders. Cultural psychology tells us that gender is a social construct, and how we think of femininity or masculinity is shaped on what we're surrounded by in our environment. This means that Devi has to code switch constantly, all the time, at school, at home. She's different. At school, she's bold and outspoken and brave, and at home, she's expected to act more traditionally. So she's quieter, she's more to herself, she's not as open with her emotions, and this could be a lot of pressure just for one teenage girl. How it applies to Devi: she hides her boyfriends from her mom because she's afraid she's going to be judged. At school, she's seen to be attractive and confident, and she shows this different side of herself at home. Um, at home, she participates in the religious rituals and her family's events, playing the good daughter role. And these shifting roles just show how complicated gender identity becomes in bicultural context and how stressful it can be on one single person to play multiple people at one time. Some examples um, are these are the examples. Work and achievement across cultures. Uh, Devi's family, her the achievement is about honoring her parents, especially her passed away dad, and getting into the best school as she possibly can as proof of what her family sacrificed to be here and what they did for her. But in American culture, achievement is often about your own personal gain, your own personal fulfillment, and going on your own path and choosing for yourself. She wants both. She wants to do well for her family, but she also wants to do well for herself and enjoy her life as being a teenager. So this is another stressor and constant push and pull of being the good, perfect, obedient daughter, but also I just want to hang out with my friends. You know what I mean? So how it applies to Devi is in season 1, episode 2, she pretends to go to an orchestra event And when really she is sneaking off to see her little crush, her little crush. Um, this shows a conflict between collectivist and individualist ideas of success. She wants to succeed for her family, but she also wants just to be a normal teenager. And this constant balance of it all is so mentally exhausting for her that she becomes so overly emotional and very impulsive and has this constant turmoil. And it becomes very, very emotionally confusing for her. So, reflection. Many young bicultural individuals who are growing up with the emotional load and wonder of two very different worlds look up to a character like Devi. Her story becomes more than just a TV show and a drama and is viewed through the lens of cultural psychology. When it is viewed through the lens of cultural psychology, it represents a common fight for emotional stability, identity, and belonging. Her Tamil background ties her to her academics, modesty, and her family responsibilities and values. On the other side, her American upbringing draws her towards the romantic freedom, independence, and having free speech. The constant balance and push and pull doesn't just create tension for most, but also resilience. Devi is an example how bicultural individuals can make new blended identities that honors all cultures that surround them. Cultural psychology helps in empathy as well as the analysis of both complexity that people go through every day living in the United States. By learning and understanding those dynamics, we can make more inclusive environments in schools and workplaces and our local communities. We can make places where people don't have to choose but celebrate all sides of themselves and love all sides of themselves. And then these are my references. Thank you everyone for listening. Hope you have a great day.